Hello adventurers, my name is Diogo Guerra and this is Off-Road Of Course. Today I will be reviewing the Husqvarna Norden 901, a bike that, because I'm a guide for Jarvis Signature Tours here in Portugal and we are using these bikes for our adventure tours, I got the opportunity to test ride for almost 3 weeks and 3,000 kilometers, most of them done off-road. And I have to admit, I am completely in love with the bike. The Norden is the easiest and most maneuverable heavy adventure bike that I've ever tried. And in case you don't know, the Norden is basically a KTM 890 Adventure in a tuxedo. There are little differences between them. And if you want to learn all about that, there's this great video on Adventure Bike Troop channel from my friend Francois, where he compares the 901 with the Adventure R and explains all the details. I highly recommend the video. But on with the review. First I will list all the things that I love about the Norden, and later I will comment on the things that I didn't like so much or the things that other people criticized about the bike.
This bike is so good in these situations. I think it's where it surprises me the most, is handling these kind of things, which are usually, you know, hard on a heavy motorcycle.
Thanks to the low-hanging 19-liter fuel tanks, as well as the design of the frame, I guess, this bike has a very low center of gravity, which explains why it feels so maneuverable, so balanced and so stable. It's more or less the same feeling you get when you ride one of those BMW GS 1200s, except that this one it's 40 kilos lighter. The Norden is very planted, very stable, very balanced, and it seems to find a natural amount of traction even with these Pirelli Rally STR tires that I used to hate. And I think this is only possible due to the low center of gravity, the stock steering damper, the very high quality suspensions despite all the criticism around them, and also thanks to its modern, well-designed frame that honestly it just works in ways beyond my understanding. As for the brakes, this thing brakes like a mother, and I found them just as impressive on any paved road as they were on any sort of off-road surface.
This 105 horsepower twin-cylinder engine, it's really something. Like, it's very easy to manage at low speeds. You can ride around a lot of times in second or third gear. It feels impossible to stall. It's very round, it's very forgiving, it's very predictable. But of course, when you open up the throttle and you let those horses breathe, you know, this never fails to put a smile on your face. Oh boy, love it.
The ride-by-wire throttle, it's also so precise and so predictable that it even convinced our common friend John, who is a carburetor enthusiast. Another thing that is also very impressive is the fuel consumption. I got 4 liters per 100 kilometers when riding mindfully and about 5 liters per 100 kilometers the other 95% of the time, so the range will be somewhere around 350 kilometers. As for speed, you can expect a comfortable cruise speed of around 130–140 kilometers per hour. Regarding top speed, it's somewhere between 200 and 200 meh. On the Norden, the electronics work and they listen, because when you tell them to turn off, they stay off. or in whatever riding mode you prefer. So there's no more wasted time roasting in the sun or soaking in the rain whenever you need to restart your engine. This is the way, it's the only way, and I will never take another manufacturer seriously until they copy this system. Besides obeying simple orders, the electronics themselves are simple, easy to navigate, very visual, and they actually work well. I didn't test the rain mode because, you know, Portugal, but I did test the off-road mode quite extensively, and I'm very happy with it. I even learned to use the traction control. Basically, we just stay out of each other's way. It doesn't do anything stupid, and in return, I don't insult it all the time. It's a peaceful coexistence. The ABS can be easily turned off for the rear wheel, so I have no beef with it, and also the easy shift works really well. It works at any speed, any RPM, it's predictable, it's smooth, it always works, so I can respect it. And the bike also has cruise control, useful. The seat can be adjusted up and down, it has 2 or 3 possible positions. This is the lowest one and the seat height becomes 85.5, about the same as the KTM 390 Adventure. So, pretty good for the vertically challenged riders. I am 1.80 meter and I ride with this setting, so no shame in that. The handlebar also has 3 different adjustments that you can use to, to increase or decrease the distance from the handlebar to the rider. The seat is broad and cushy, very good on the road, but some will feel that it's a bit strange for off-roading. Honestly, I got used to it really fast, the shape is really well done, and because it's like triangle shaped, it will force you to ride a little bit further to the front, which is good in off-road situations because you have more traction on the front wheel. On the other hand, it never stopped me from reaching the back of the bike and to move around whenever I needed to, so I'm very happy with it. But of course, it's when you stand up that you unlock this bike's full potential. And what I like about the standing position on the Norden is that it's not very passive like you see on most adventure bikes. There is a sort of, it's a mild attack position, so I'm like in a very good position to control the bike, but I'm not straining myself, I'm not too bent over, I'm not like too stressed. I can still relax, but I can do what I came here to do, which is to control the bike using my legs.
It also like I can squeeze the bike really well with my knees, and the knees rest here against the seat, so it's very comfortable. And on this bike I have the tendency to tuck my toes in, which is something I never do, and it is the correct way of riding. It's like it's the right posture, and I never do that. So in other words, this bike brings out the best version of myself as a rider.
A few other details that I appreciate on the Norden are, for instance, its KTM style simplicity and practicality. The seat can easily be removed with the key and the plastics come off without any tools. You have 2 small compartments for tools or whatever, the air filter is right here, and I really like details like this. The wheels are 21-inch and 18-inch, spoked but tubeless rims, which means, thank God, that fixing a flat tire, it's a sweatless 5-minute job. And the bike comes with LED lights and auxiliary lights, which are quite good in my opinion. But you know, I'm just a simple man, I only need to see what I need to see. Alright, and now that I talked about all the good stuff, let's take a moment to talk about the iffy stuff. I think that for such a fast bike, this windshield is clearly insufficient. That's why we got these aftermarket spoiler thingies that definitely help a lot, but I still feel some unnecessary buffeting coming from the sides. So to further improve this, I would try to get some sort of spoilers for the side as well. Everyone was expecting the Norden to come equipped with the top shelf 48mm Explore forks and the Explore shock, and instead we got the 43mm Apex forks and the Apex shock. Meh! At first I was sad about this decision, and in a way I still am. But I ended up accepting the bike as it is, since it does such a good job. And despite not having the best and the biggest suspensions available, they are still slightly bigger than the ones on the Yamaha T7, which everyone agrees to be a very capable off-roader. I found the bike extremely capable on any surface, and it finds traction when you don't believe there is any. And it will be smooth and plush in most situations, especially if you know how to use its 105 ponies to your advantage. One thing I still find hard to accept is that the rear shock is only two-way adjustable, meaning that you only have the preload and the rebound, no compression adjustment. And you guys know I love my adjustments. If not, just check out this tutorial for dummies that I've done a while ago. Don't get me wrong, the clutch and the gearbox work brilliantly. The clutch is really smooth, but it's not hydraulic and some people simply hate that. To me, it makes no difference whatsoever. It's light as a feather. As for the gearbox, it's super precise, it's smooth, it's easy to find the neutral, it's predictable, it works brilliantly with or without the quick shifter. The problem is that from time to time I found a false neutral, usually between 5th and 6th gear. And it's not one of those innocent false neutrals, it's one of those where the gearbox makes some scary noises. No bueno. Well, all in all, and as you can see, I am very in love with the Norden. And I'm not saying that it's the fastest and most performant adventure bike in the world. That would probably be the 890 Rally, I suppose. But it suits me like a glove. And it will be perfect for the sort of trails and tracks that I'm preparing for the Jarvis Signature Tours here in Portugal. As for reliability, so far we didn't have any problem whatsoever with any of our 7 Nordens. But then again, they are still all very new, so it's early to reach any conclusions. As a final thought, I want to reinforce the idea that I still believe that big adventure bikes are not for off-road beginners. If you are a beginner, you should start with something lighter and easier to ride. On the other hand, if you feel ready to finally get a bigger bike, then I think this new KTM/Husqvarna platform, it's working really well. This is the easiest big adventure bike I've ever rode, so I have to recommend something like this. I hope that you learned something today and that you enjoyed, and if so, please don't forget to like, to subscribe, to hit the thingy and to share. See you next week and happy rides!